This video is brought to you by Squarespace. I'm going to 100% Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. To do this, I need to beat the game, collect all 87 badges, make all 58 recipes from Zest Tea, find all 100 star pieces, complete all 134 Tattle Logs, get all 42 Shine Sprites, finish all 30 Troubles at the Trouble Center, buy all of Super Luigi's books, beat the Pit of 100 Trials, and beat the secret bosses. Yeah, this one's gonna take a long time to play, and I'm hyped, because I absolutely adored the original, and I'm excited to play through this one again. Something that's really cool about the title screen is that it updates as you get new partners. In fact, this game has so many tiny changes compared to the original that it would be really difficult to spot them all as I go. I still can't believe this is real, to be honest. And look at the intro, it's animated and it looks so nice. I'm really curious what the consensus is going to end up being for newcomers for this game. Will new people like this or Origami King more? It's hard to say, but look at that, they left the noose in! You know this remake's gonna be good. And holy crap, look how nice it all looks! The textures have been completely revamped, and the lighting makes the world so much more lively. And there's no more stupid white outline! Instead, you get this very slight hint of white shadow, which makes the characters pop out just enough, but it's not overbearing. So, what exactly is going on in this game? Well, it starts with Peach. She's grabbing a box that looks a little bit sus. Uh-oh, that's not good. Cue Mario's house. He gets a letter from Peach that's not strange at all. No, definitely not. That means you must come? Damn, guess she's just feeling aggressive today. Well, guess we're going to Rogueport, and that means the prologue has begun. And look at that! They made the spinning coin in 3D. Wow. Hey, our first NPC, a good old Bob-Omb. How's it going, dude? Because the thing about life is, you never know when you're gonna kick the old bucket. 10 seconds into playing and I'm told I'm gonna die one day. This game kicks ass. Let's check out the settings. And yeah, there's no way to change the text speed. That's pretty typical of a Nintendo game, but the text is a little bit slow. I'm really hoping this doesn't slow down the whole game too much. But here we go into our first battle against Lord Crump. The set looks so much better too. I'm still genuinely in awe that this remake exists. We're joined by Goombella right away, and I have to wonder how I didn't die to all these X-Nauts tackling Mario. Well, anyway, we arrive at the main square, and Goombella gives us a nice kiss on the cheek. You love to see that Mario's Riz hasn't washed up after all these years. Something else that's different is instead of Mario saluting all the time, he gives us a thumbs up. I honestly dig this. There are so many scenarios coming up where some dramatic or emotional dialogue is brought up, and Mario just responds with a thumbs up, and it's ironically the funniest shit ever. And hey, look at that! It's Toadsworth. Been a while since we've seen him. But okay, what's the first thing we really need to do? Well, we gotta step on this contact lens and make the Toad Zest Tea pissed at us. Then we gotta talk to Professor Frankly about the crystal stars, and it's discovered that we need to find them to open the Thousand-Year Door, which is found underneath Rogueport. So that's our basic objective here. It seems pretty straightforward. In Rogueport sewers, we fight our first enemies, which are a couple of Goombas. Something that I'll need to be doing as I'm playing is tattle all of them with Goombella. This not only shows us their stats and HP, but also adds to our tattle log. And I have to find all 134 unique enemies to tattle, which is an insane amount of characters for a Mario game. But now, let's talk about the frame rate. Some people have been making a stink that the Thousand-Year Door runs at 30 frames a second instead of 60, and here's my response to that. I literally didn't notice until like an hour in, just remembering that there was even a discourse about it. Now, yes, the original game might have had 60 frames and it would have been nice, I guess, but I really don't care for an RPG game. The 30 frames is consistent the entire way through, outside of a few instances during cutscenes, so I really don't think it matters. And I'll say that the gameplay feels just as fluid as the original game. Everything you loved about it is back. Even things like Super Guards are still included. It just feels so nice to have fun battles again. No more stickers, no more cards, no more whatever the f that was, just normal battles where you gain experience points and incrementally get stronger and stronger. And also, why does Frankly's tutorial come after you fight Lord Crump? Like, come on dude, we don't need a second tutorial. But I gotta say, the sewers are kind of cool. Look at that cool treasure chest! Ooh, I wonder what's in it. Oh god! Oh man, he's so spooky. He's gonna curse me with a new ability! Oh, the horror! Oh, now I can fly! Somewhat. I mean, I can kind of fly? Speaking of new, there's a new toad called the Battle Master, and he's got a really nice looking outfit. Look at him, he's dressed quite well for himself. Battle Master's really only worth looking into if you're new to this kind of battling. But I also saw that you got a check mark for reading just one of the tips, so I felt it was necessary to read all of them, even though I didn't need to, and it didn't count towards 100%, but I wanted the green check mark on all the tips, so I did it anyway. But okay, we're all well versed in how the game works. There's a tentacle arm, so obviously I must Hulk smash it with my hammer. And uh-oh, I made the blooper a little angry. After defeating him, the pipe appeared for the first chapter of the game, Petal Meadows. Oh my god, the Petal Meadows remix hits so hard! Every single piece of music has been remixed, which you'd expect. But there's also a way to play the original songs, which we'll get to later on. But I've been seriously loving these remixes. We've made it to Petalburg, and look how happy Bubbled is surrounded by his flowers. That's so wholesome. Oh, and Dupree's here, and he's, an interesting guy to say the least. He tries flirting with Goombella, and it doesn't work. Clearly, her heart is with Mario and nobody else. Hey, this toad is still playing Fire Emblem on the GBA after 20 years. I can respect that. Well, let's see what we got going on here. There's an inn for somewhere to sleep, but look at this bed. The blanket is thicker than the goddamn pillow. And outside of there, we find General White, who has, and I quote, lost his hopes and dreams. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. But next to him, I found the Gooner house. This Koopa's walls are completely covered in pictures of Peach. That's just a touch creepy, bro. Just saying. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about with Mario's thumbs up being funny, alright? We're talking to Kroop right now, and he asked me what Mario's name is. His response? Honestly, I gotta start doing that. Next time I go to a get-together or a hangout place, I'm just throwing up a thumbs up anytime anyone asks, "Who are you?" I'm gonna go, let's go ahead and check out the shop. We'll find these things in every world, and hold up, I can't bulk buy the items? Oh, well, that's kind of dumb. Why am I only allowed to buy one thing at a time? Well, whatever. On to Schwank Forest. Along the way, I'm going to be exploring every nook and cranny for star pieces. I need to get a ton of these to 100% the game and unlock badges much later in the game. So now we're really getting into the meat here, doing more battles and tattles. And I also learned that Goombella hates bald guys. Like, bruh. Most of us go bald eventually. You're gonna have to accept that someday. But as Mario and the rest of the guys in the world slowly accept their fate, we made our way to this thwomp and boom! It's time for the 65th Trivia Quiz-Off. These have got to be the easiest questions ever. Wow, we did it! Time to get those moon and sunstones real quick. And something else I gotta mention is that we get these emails, and I love how half the people talking to us attach a selfie for like no reason. But after getting the stones and heading back to Petalburg, Koops comes out of his home. He was initially really shy and nervous around us, but has chosen to step it up and be a brave Koopa to join us on our adventure. So now, I guess Koops has joined the party. Hell yeah. Oh look, I got a new email from Frankly. Hello, Mario. Still working hard? No, dude, I'm working soft. Of course I'm working hard! Now, look here. We can switch partners by holding L and using a partner ring. It's not super convenient yet, but when we have most of them unlocked, it makes switching a lot faster than pausing the game every time. But yeah, we put the moon and sunstones into the structure, and now we got a pipe that leads us to Hooktail Castle. And now that we're in here, oh my god, look at the lighting! For a Nintendo game, it is shocking how much attention to detail is included. The light shines naturally through the windows and off the floors, which is complemented perfectly by Mario's shiny shadow on the ground. What a great video game. So now to just get through the castle. Something else worth mentioning during the fights is that the menuing feels a little slow, which I know sounds petty, it is a little petty, but I do wish it went by a little bit faster. Let's say I already know what attack I want to use. I can't really just mash A through all the menus. I instead have to wait for these little animations to play out every single time. So it's not the end of the world, but it does slow down the pacing a bit more than I would have liked. Now it's time for some lore. Coop's dad went into this castle to fight the boss a long time ago, but never returned. We get to this room with a bunch of dry bones and oh no! Coop's father's lying on the ground? Oh, just kidding, that's not actually his dad. And does anyone else find it really satisfying to smash all 80 of these dull bones at once? It's just fun to watch them tumble. I also love how the battle theme changes a bit in each world. It really adds to the world building and makes the area itself feel more distinct. And hey, look at that! We got our first Shine Sprite! That's yet another collectible we need for 100%. The Shine Sprites are used to power up all of our partners, so they're definitely worth getting. After getting a few keys, we get to a room with this familiar-looking talking chest. Well, oh well, let's open it up. Ah, scary, I've been fooled again. Oh no, the curse this time lets me squeeze between thin areas and get more goodies. Oh, the horror, the pain, the suffering. Okay, but can I just be real for a second? Why did Mario need to get cursed to do this? He's already made out of paper. Did he not think of just, I don't know, turning his body to slip through the cracks already? Whatever. We got this next key so we can move on from here. This room has a bunch of treasure and a mouse that's flirting with Mario for some reason. Oh yeah, another kiss. This dude's got endless riz as usual. At this point, I'm hitting the bingos in the battles as I've figured out the timing, and we made our way to the first boss, Hooktail. She threatens to gnaw on the bottoms of our feet and then bargains to smell the bottoms of her feet. Whoa, girl, I am not into your foot fetish. This first battle was pretty easy, which is to be expected, but I've got a question. How did Hooktail's fire not disintegrate us to dust? We're made of literal paper. I'm just saying, you know? But after Hooktail goes down, she vomits out Coop's dad. Wait, what the f? And also the crystal star we needed. Well, okay, that's the first chapter down, but not before playing as Peach for a bit. That's something I love about this game. In between chapters, you get to see what she's up to each time. She's currently been kidnapped by Sir Grotus, and she accidentally blurts out that she gave the crystal star map to Mario. I'm also kind of surprised that they left in the shower scene. But the main meat and potatoes here is we learn who Tech is. I love this guy. Or, robot. This robot is an AI that instantly falls in love with Peach upon seeing her. It's honestly pretty charming and really makes Tech feel like a human character. So after that, now it's time for Bowser. He's also a part of the intermission after each chapter, and is basically the comedy relief. His wimpiness this time around makes him so much more likable. I also need all of you watching this to jot down in your notes that Bowser loves fried eggs and he has high blood pressure. It'll be on the test about Bowser lore next week, so study up for that. But yeah, Bowser finds out Peach is kidnapped and decides to go after her for the rest of the game. What a life, Bowser. Returning to Mario, Coop's dad is proud of what Koops has done. And I also visited Dazzle to start spending my star pieces on badges. We'll have to buy all the badges off him eventually. But after putting the crystal star into the door, we talk to Luigi real quick so he can share all his wacky adventures with us. That's another thing we have to do. Listen to all his stories and buy all the Luigi books that come in through the shop. I also talked to Merlon to start using the Shine Sprites to power the partners. And best of all, that broken contact lens problem has finally been fixed. We ordered one at the shop, I gave it to Zesty, and while he probably still hates me, at least we can visit the west side of Rogueport. And while we're at it, I made a couple of recipes because this is yet another thing I have to do. Craft all the recipes in the entire game. On the west side, I went into a house only to find some kid that has no confidence in his dad's book selling well. Then I also found this Koopa that's rich, but basically does nothing with his life. Yeah, that's not a good way to live, just in general. I mean, he could at least get a ticket from the Happy Lucky Lottery Bomb. Surely. That's what I did. Watch this. I'm gonna win the jackpot right now. Well, next time for sure. Definitely next time. There's also another shop over here run by this boo that keeps calling Mario a cutie. Jesus Christ, Mario's riz is unfathomable. But back in the sewers, we find this little puny. And what a coincidence too, that he happened to be exactly where we need to go next, Boggly Woods. Holy crap, this world is drop-dead gorgeous. I honestly can't stop saying that about this game. The colors pop so much now and it's just brimming in vibrance. But hey, look at that. It's the Shadow Sirens. They're apparently looking for Mario, so you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna give them exactly what they want. Oh, you don't want me now? Alright, see ya. I guess I'll just hit this switch hiding in the background, and wow, the airplane spot is suddenly useful. Going to the Great Tree, it turns out we can't get in without Flurry's wind gusts. So we found Flurry's house, which is cool, but she's missing her necklace and won't leave, so I guess it's not cool. We had to turn around and find the necklace, and only now do the Shadow Sirens realize what Mario looks like. And dude, why is Beldum so mean to Vivian? I don't get it. So of course, we had to fight all three of them, and it was pretty easy. We've got so many items at our disposal, and I've also been focusing on leveling up the badge points so I can attach a ton of useful badges. And aww, Goombella thinks Vivian is cute. Now, that's just adorable. After they were defeated, wow, look at that, the missing necklace we needed. There it is. Here you go, Flurry, you can have that. And finally, we see her, and we got this crazy disco mode going on in the house. Oh boy, oh yeah. Mario gets his usual peck because he has unbeatable Riz levels, and we take Flurry to the tree. We climb this branch, and Flurry blows away the secret entrance. Okay, its placement is a little bit random, but at least we're getting in now. And boy oh boy, it's time to play some Pikmin. And also get Punio's sister back. Most of the Punies are trapped in a cage, so we gotta get them out. But, like, okay, here's the thing. The Punies are made of paper. Mario is paper. This is paper Mario. Just squeeze through the bars. You're thin enough. What do I gotta do? Get that talking chest to curse all the Punies? Like, seriously. But okay, sure. We'll save the Elder Puny first, who's mad at us for rescuing him. Okay. Then we meet up with the other Punies. We get this orb that the Punies practically stick onto. We use that to get pipes to spawn, and eventually we get the other Punies out of jail. Oh man. This music just started jamming out of nowhere. After a lot of traveling, we get to a room that needs 101 Puny, which is exactly how many we have, and all is good with the world. Whatever will I do about this predicament? While trying to get them out, I also found the Super Boots. Finally, I can ground pound stuff, or as the game calls it, a spin jump. Yeah, that's not a spin jump. It's a ground pound, but if you want to call it that, whatever, that's fine, Nintendo. But hey, at least I can get them out by blowing them into a hole in the ground instead of, blowing them out of the jail cell because they're paper and they could fit through the bars. Whatever. Anyway, let's just move on. We get the Punies to spawn the Crystal Star, which is pretty I guess it's gone now. Lord Crump was hiding behind the couch and just sniped it away from us. So we corner the dude, and he gets his silly-looking robot out for us to fight. Again, this fight wasn't really hard, but at least we got the Crystal Star for sure this time. And that wraps up the second chapter. Catching up with Peach again, Tech asks her to dance this time. He decides to make a virtual clone of Peach. So Peach dances with Peach while Tech watches. It's a bit strange, but it's cool to watch Tech have a mental conflict of confiding with Peach while obeying Grodus' orders. It's really quite fascinating and really well told. And after that, we go back to Bowser, and we're playing a classic 2D Mario level as him. Only this time, he eats some meat and cheats his way through the level. Good job, buddy. Bowser gets to Petalburg, finds the Gooner's house, and is fooled by the Peach poster. So then, of course, we put the next star in the door, and Flurry gets the professor all heated up for basically no reason. Well, guys, what are we doing here? Our next objective is to get a ticket for the floating city in the sky, but we can't do that without talking to Don Piana, the mob gangsta of Rogueport. This guy seems kinda tough. He's yelling at his associates, and now he's making demands at Mario. Find my daughter and her friend, then come see me. Dude, I'm so tired of Gus's toll, but it turns out that you can fight him to stop paying the toll, which is nice. So we find Don's daughter and her boyfriend, bring them back to Da Boss, and we get the ticket for Da Blimp. After that fiasco, Don has intense emotions to compartmentalize. Oh my god, this guy's so funny. And now we can begin Chapter 3 in Glitzville. Well, we've made it. Okay, this is the first remix song I haven't really liked. It doesn't exude the same bliss that the original has. It's too slow and full. Even after playing the entire game, this is one of the very few remix tracks that I didn't get used to or really grow to appreciate. But you know what? Let's phone a friend real quick. The weather in Glitzville today will be sunny with a chance of more sun. It's above the clouds, stupid. Ah, yes, the snarky yet passive-aggressive telephone booth. My favorite. Hey, look at that. Mario chilling in the hot dog. Inside the Glitz Pit, I checked out what was going on and got myself inside to see a match. There's a Toad that was there for their primal scream therapy and proceeds to grah at me. This game's writing's magical, man. That's all I gotta say. So it looks like Rockhawk's got that crystal star in his belt, so we'll have to battle our way to the top of the rank. And when I say battle, I mean one battle at a time. We even have to log in to this big GBA computer that makes the startup sound just to sign up for the next rank. So that's pretty much what I did for the next couple hours. I just had to fight one fighter at a time, and it was honestly a little boring at first. I know the point of all this is for there to be a build-up to taking out Rockhawk, but the first half is just a snooze fest of easy fights. But I did eventually get to the Iron Clefs, and completely forgot that I need Yoshi for this, so I ran out and got the egg, it hatched, and I got a green one. He will be called Chet, and he's the best Yoshi that's ever been born. You can't tell me otherwise. And at some point, Rockhawk notices us getting higher up the ranks, and tries to smack talk on us. But one, he's just coming off as super insecure, and two, the crystal star he's got is a fake. At this point, we keep getting creepy emails as well. One of them leads us to getting a super hammer. Oh, sick, I'll take that. The farther we get up on the ranks, the more we get distracted by things happening around us. We refight the Iron Clefs at one point because they're salty they lost. Bowser decides to show up. We're crawling around in secret rooms trying to figure out where the crystal star might be. We find missing bodies. It's crazy. But at least we finally got to the title match and could take Rockhawk on. Only instead, we ended up trapped inside the minor league room. So naturally, we took a toilet to escape our living quarters and survived forfeiting to this brainless bird. The fight against Rock is pretty underwhelming if I'm being honest, but at least we beat him. Now we have access to the champions room, and bro, what's going on with this crazy carpet? Now that's what I call fancy. Now, of course, we don't have the real crystal star yet, so after crawling around some more, we learned that Grubba is basically harnessing the crystal star like steroids. And now we have to fight him, and I gotta say, he's the first somewhat hard boss fight. We also find out Jolene was Grubba's manager, and also has a brother called Prince Mush, who was the champion at one point. But Prince Mush secretly disappeared, and then he suddenly appears from the star! Whoa, hold on! Oh, by the way, I need you to write down Prince Mush's story. That's going to be on the test later, don't forget that, guys. And that's basically it for Chapter 3. This game has been a lot of fun so far, but it's really hard to keep up with the collectibles as I'm playing through it. When I beat the game, I'll likely have to go through every world and find everything that I missed. But we return to Peach again, and now she's on a mission to see what Sir Grotus is up to. Then we go back to Bowser, and he's very behind the times, showing up at the Great Tree trying to get the Crystal Star himself. So I figured that it was about time that I grabbed the Nostalgic Badge, which is what lets us switch the music on the fly. Upon trying to head to the next world, Twilight Town, we were rejected from the pipe. Well, that's never happened before. So Frankly tells us to find this guy Darkly that lives in Twilight Town, and he writes our names on us so that we can go through. Okay, sure thing, I guess. Also, let's just listen to what Darkly's soundbites sound like. That sounds awfully familiar to a certain funny skeleton. But now we can start the next chapter and dig into Twilight Town. So Twilight Town is one of the darkest chapters in any Mario game, period, only being beaten by Underwear from Super Paper Mario. There's a curse that's going around where the villagers will randomly turn into pigs. That sounds like a bit of a dilemma, so we needed to make our way through the Twilight Trail to stop that from happening. And oh my god, look at the moon. Dude, I can't get over how breathtaking the visuals are. Just look at this! Along the way though, I was fighting some Hyper Goombas, oh boy, that's crazy, but was stopped by a log. Luckily, I found a key that Koops could grab so we could get into the shop's back room and grab the goods I needed. And hey, look at that, it's that evil-looking chest. This time, it cursed us so we can roll into toilet paper and go under the log. Ooh. But yeah, this led us to Creepy Steeple. And it's definitely creepy, alright. Getting spooked out of my skin out here. I mean, really, it's scary how pretty the glass-stained windows just pierce light onto the floor. Oh, boo jump scare! See, I told you, this place was terrifying. Now, the goal here was to hit some switches to move the staircase around to climb up top. Once we got there, I found a bro that's got a CRT hooked up, but without a GameCube plugged in. What are you even doing, man? And as you'd expect, this is the guy turning the villagers into pigs, and he can also take others' bodies. So he took Mario's body, and now I'm just a shadow of myself. I tried heading back into town, and the fake Mario jumped out of the moon! What the hell is going on here? Something else that I haven't mentioned yet is that it's really neat that the text this time is a more direct translation from the original Japanese version of the game. So Mario makes it back to the town, and Vivian is looking for some bomb that she dropped after getting scolded by Beldum as usual. So Vivian decides to help Mario while not realizing it's actually Mario, gets his usual peck on the cheek of course, and they figure out that the ghost weakness is finding out what his name is. And we also learn that the crows are depressed about the depletion of fossil fuels. I'm playing a video game to escape reality, not be reminded of it. So, to find his name, we gotta go back to Creepy Steeple. After sneaking in through the well, we find a little parrot dude that splurts out his name, Dupless. Okay, I understand why he doesn't want anybody to know the name now. I get it. So we ran into the guy again, revealed his name, he freaks out, we stomped on his head a bunch of times, and 1, 2, 3, a crystal star thingy! Vivian also joins our team permanently since we're not assholes to her. So you know what that means. It's back to Peach, and this time Tech is even more conflicted if he wants to serve Peach or serve his boss. We had to do a quiz in which he sneakily just tells Peach all the plans. To sum it up, the 1,000-Year Door has this demon that's locked away inside, and Grodus wants to use that to conquer the world. Yeah, okay, I'm sure some random robot dude will be able to control a 1,000-year-old demon. That'll go over well, I'm sure. And then there's Bowser again. We do more platforming, and he ends up getting lost in Rogueport trying to get to Glitzville. How did you mess up that badly? But we return the Crystal Star, only to find out that the door is weakening on its own, and the Crystal Stars are used to power the demon. So now we're kind of in a lose-lose situation, but we might as well get the stars ourselves so we can take on the demon. Next up, we gotta get to Keelhaul Key. We talked to Flavio about sailing there, and he says that we need a great sailor for the job, Admiral Bobbery. So of course, we slide into his house through the chimney, he gets pissed at us, and nothing gets resolved. Shocking, I know. We later find out that his wife passed away while he was out at sea, which made him feel like it was his fault. So then, Podley here gives us an old letter of hers to give to Bobbery. While this is very sweet, why on earth has Podley been holding this back the entire time? He should have given this to Bobbery a long time ago. But it does give us a motive, I guess, for getting him on board to help us out. It's pieces of stories like this that we've been missing in the newer Paper Mario games. They're so integral and important to creating memorable characters like this one. They make you really cherish each character and feel what they're going through. So with Bobbery on board, we were set sail for Keelhaul Key. On the way there, we're stopped by Pirate Ghost, and everyone's knocked into the water, oh god. But we still made it to Keelhaul Key. Wait, how do we do that? Our ship got wrecked. Oh well, who cares? Look at how goddamn beautiful this world looks too. Oh, and I guess Bobbery also survived, but he's on his last dying breath. In fact, he just wants a Chocola Cola before leaving us. So we go to Flavio to get the cola, but guess what? He won't give it to us because he wants something to eat! Why are you so stubborn, you purple-haired asshat? So now, we gotta take this pipe to a random island, get a coconut, trade it for the cola, and finally give it to Bobbery for his sugary goodness. Which made him feel better. Sick. We aren't done with Flavio's shenanigans yet. Oh no, we need his stupid red skull to solve a puzzle so we can get into Pirate's Grotto. And now that we're in here, oh my god, look at the water. How did they get this 2D water looking so clean and smooth? This cave has more puzzles to get through. I really like this one where you had to time the plank with throwing Bobbery. But honestly, I was just admiring how the cave looked this entire time. Oh hey, it's the funny evil chest! Now he's cursing us with turning us into a boat. Which, frankly, really powered us up because now we have the power to avoid getting our paper soggy. After a bunch of sailing around, we found a bunch of toads trapped underneath. Well, hold on, how are they even alive still? But whatever, we saved the little rascals, and oh boy, it's the Pianta couple! Well, well, well. You guys should have listened to your old pops instead of running off, huh? But we made it to the pirate ship with the crystal star, and gasp! Cortez is guarding the treasure, so we gotta fight him for it. While he doesn't seem to have that much health, he comes back to life a bunch of different times in different forms. It's a really fun and varied boss fight. So after that, he gives us the 5th crystal star, we bust a hole in the wall, and then we're free to go. Except that we're still stranded because our ship got destroyed. Oh wait, here comes an X-Naut ship! Oh no! That's right, there was a rogue pirate the entire time. So with that, there's not much we can do except bargain with Cortez for his ship. So he ends up helping us out, and we have to fight Lord Crump again. He has really unique attack patterns with the X-Nauts, but it's another simple battle. And that secures us with the next crystal star. And yes, next it was Peach time! Now we have to get a data disk from Sir Grotus's room to get some more info. So we had to whip up a potion and strip down, baby! And I should note that the data disk is also the shape of a Famicom disc, which is fantastic. And that's about all that happened. As for Bowser, he arrives at Twilight Town a bit behind as you'd expect, but also Lord Crump is there for some reason. They have an army duel-off or whatever. They throw some bombs at each other. They both explode in their faces. Good stuff, gentlemen. But back at Rogueport, we need to get a ticket for the train. So we had to ask Don again, but wait a second. He's sick? Oh, he's sick with loneliness. He just misses his daughter. So we gotta get his daughter and boyfriend from the island, but it's not that simple. The couple is getting married, but the wedding ring is missing. So for some reason, I had to find their ring, and then they'd finally go back to Don Piana, and we got our train ticket. And after all of that, Beldam overheard us talking about where the 6th crystal star is. I mean, honestly, it's probably fine. Let's just choo-choo it up to the next chapter. Excess Express. So honestly, I found this chapter to be pretty uneventful and boring in the first half. You just kind of hop around different rooms on board and some random drama happens. A stew goes missing, we're called Luigi instead of Mario, you give some kid an autograph from the engineer, you find a ghost toad. This would be fun normally, but there were no battles, so all these events really dragged on because of that. It was just monotonous, running back and forth, doing things that didn't mean much in the long run. The only notable thing that really happens on the train is one of the toads is secretly dupeless, and the train gets stopped because a bridge gets lifted up. So now we have to go into a control room to fix it. And finally, after an hour, there's some battles again to shake things up. We get into the control panel, find some Ultra Boots, which are epic, and make our way through to fixing the bridge. I am so glad that these boots let me jump 500 feet in the air. I wish my shoes could do that. We eventually get the key to the elevator we need to go down, and oh god, evil dust bunnies! I guess I'll just smack them up, and that gave us the switch to lower the bridge. But the next day, the dust bunnies make their valiant return and abduct the passengers! Oh no! This triggers the Smorg boss fight, and he was really fun. Like a lot of the other bosses, there's a variety of tacks to learn from him. When he eventually went down, we arrived at Poshley Heights. The detective penguin from the train is apparently a manager of this nice-ass White House looking place. And there it is, the crystal star that we needed, except that it was stolen. But then it was fake. I'm sorry for being a little overdramatic here. This game has a lot of fake outs going on. The real crystal star is behind this painting. And look at that, we got ourselves the 6th crystal star. But what's going on with Peach? Well, Tech found out the plans from the data disk, and they're not very good, especially for Peach. So he tries to tell her to escape, but instead, he gets found out and shut down. Damn, I actually feel kinda bad for Tech. But what about Bowser? Well, he's a little pooped after his antics. No stars, no Peach. Man, what a bummer for that guy. Oh. So I guess more platforming adventures for him, and as soon as they seem to have found a star, Rockhawk comes in to reveal that it's a fake. Ugh. Like I said, there's just a lot of fake stars in this game. So we got the next crystal star in place, and smashed my head on this piece of wood to get the Ultra Hammer. Yes. Finally, I can break these generic gray-looking blocks, and Chapter 7 has begun, Fahr Outpost. I gotta start this and comment on the Russian bob-ombs. These might be my favorite designs if I'm being honest. We find the leader of Fahr Outpost, but he'll only negotiate with Bobbery, of course. We basically have to use this cannon to shoot to the moon, because rockets don't exist yet, I suppose. So to get the moon to work, we have to talk to Gold Bob and General White. Gold Bob isn't a problem, just a quick trip to Poshley Heights for him. General White, however, is a different story. But thankfully, this remake fixes Thousand Year Door's biggest problem, the backtracking. Going from world to world can be very tiresome and tedious in the original game because each pipe is so far away from each other. But that's no longer the case. There's a new room that has every pipe to every world in one spot. And the reason this is so nice to have is that we're forced to talk to a bunch of NPCs to track down General White. This dude likes to get around, so I had to go to every area at least once. And of course, he ends up asleep in Fahr Outpost at the end. After wailing on him with the hammer for a few minutes, he wakes up and we can finally go to space. The X-Naut base is located on the moon, so we needed to get there to save Peach and find the last crystal star. Now, the one thing I've been curious about while playing this whole time is the X-Nauts theme. That is my all-time favorite song in the original, so I wanted to know if the remix was gonna hold up. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm just too biased towards the original version. It kind of has a Monkey Ball 1 and 2 energy where it's very 2000s techno, but it just doesn't work as well. But the bass is a lot of fun to figure out and get through, and I eventually got to a metal thwomp. Just like Schwank Fortress, it's just another quiz, yippity yahoo. But this led to a really fun 2D platforming segment, and Lord Crump's silly robot makes a return. This time it has a lot more HP, which was a bit scary, and its attack patterns were pretty rough to survive, but he did go down and we did get the final crystal star. After that, there's sadly no Peach scene, but there is one more Bowser one. He's at Poshly Sanctum and takes another Fate Crystal Star. What a genius, wow. Returning to Mario, the doors are locked down knowing he's there. But they somehow find Tech's room and he's alive? How did Tech survive? Okay, well, he's not really alive. He's hanging on for dear life over here. Tech gave up his last bit of power for us to teleport home. Man, he's a true homie. Back in Rogueport, Frankly is in the sewers and says he saw Peach and Grotus go through the 1,000-year door. Oh boy, that's not good. So we head over to the door. It's still closed off, but we use the final crystal star to reopen it. Now, I don't know about you, but just looking inside here, this seems like a really, really bad idea. The Palace of Shadow has much tougher enemies. They take a while to fight through, but at least we're getting a lot of extra star points, so I can't complain that much. We ran into 8 billion dry bones, took out the blue guy, and got ourselves a key to the palace. We're getting close now, fellas. It's only a matter of time. There was a maze room with the torches, and wow, we gotta fight Gloomtail now! And he's apparently Hooktail's younger sister. Look, I'm sorry about what happened, but the foot fetish thing was freaking me out. Had to do what I had to do. So we took Gloomtail down eventually, and I found that Veil is kind of a broken ability. Vivian did eventually go down during the battle, but that move was really helpful throughout the match. After that, I threw Bobbery into some statues to make boat spawns appear because I guess this is a Zelda game now, and finally we made it to Shadow Tower. The tower was a lot of fun since each room had a specific task/puzzle to solve. One example is taking out the dry bones from weakest to strongest, another required me to go invisible, or breaking a wall, and a variety of other things. The keys from these rooms made a big-ass staircase appear, and so did, frankly, how the heck did he— never mind, it's just the Shadow Sisters and Dupless, of course. So after beating them yet again, there were a bunch more rooms which were a lot harder than anything before it. But eventually, I got to the final Grotus fight. He starts his spiel off by coping really hard and saying, "Oh, you got the crystal stars for me!" Sure, your comrades just sucked ass and I'm here to kill you. Yep, take that. But the first time I fought him, he kind of destroyed me, I'm not gonna lie. The second attempt went over a lot better since I figured out a better strategy. After Grotus was defeated, he reveals that Peach has been here this whole time. And Grotus starts zapping us, and we probably wouldn't have survived this if Bowser didn't come in to crash the party. Thank you, Ex Machina. So I guess we're fighting Bowser and Cammy now, and they weren't that hard to fight either. But when that battle ends, Grotus takes Peach despite being crushed to death like 2 minutes ago. Whatever, we chase him down a stairwell, and then it happens. The tomb opens, and the demon takes Peach's body as a vessel. The entire world goes dark, and Shadow Queen takes Peach for herself, and now she's evil. But wait, Grotus rules over Shadow Queen, right? Of course not! She kills the f*** out of that idiot, and now we have to take her on. I love how intimidating this fight feels. This last chapter is exceptionally long compared to the others. It feels like a really proper conclusion, but now onto the fight. Shadow Queen is strong as hell and eventually reabsorbs all the energy we dealt. This just makes everything feel so dire and hopeless. But the crystal stars surround us and leave to go back to their original locations. And suddenly, we hear loud and proud cheers from around the world, sending us positive and nice messages. This weakens the Shadow Queen to the point where Peach kind of comes back for a moment, and we get the last of her power to fully heal. So then, the second phase of the fight begins, and good lord, this fight is freaking hard if you haven't done it before. I lost twice and clearly wasn't prepared yet. So I had to go back and get some new badges to make myself a bit stronger. Quick change was a big inclusion here. That'll make switching partners much less intrusive. And I also went and got some actual health items just in case. So after getting better prepared and going in once again, we finally beat Shadow Queen Peach. Man, that fight was awesome. It's so fun to actually have to strategize and play well. It's rare to see final bosses this tricky from Nintendo. We watch Shadow Queen vanish into thin air, leaving Peach to lay on the ground, safe as sound. And this is normally where the game would be over. We say goodbye to our partners to go home, which is oh so sad. And Vivian definitely wants to say that she loves Mario, but Peach is kind of just right there, so good on you for holding that one back. When the credits rolled, I started to reflect on what I just played. And man, this game is still amazing. One of Nintendo's best games of all time. It hasn't aged a day. But to those still watching, you already know we aren't even close to done yet. I have so much post-game to tackle, it's not even funny. So let's get started with it. So now that I beat the main game, I still had a ton of extra collectibles and side quests to tackle. I decided to start with a Trouble Center board. I've only done one so far, and that was an accident. There's only 30 of these things to do, so I was able to knock them out fairly quickly. Some of them are pretty funny too. I had to chase down a bandit because he committed credit card fraud, smack this rat a bunch of times so he remembered that he could flip a sheepy sheep item for profit, give the Elder Punti a life mushroom in case he dies, and then save some guy from the Pit of 100 Trials that passed out. But there were also some really weird ones too, like being forced to pick up a bunch of used, sweaty, gross trunks. Also, who the hell would know a secret chest is here in Hooktail Castle without looking it up? And you need this item so Ms. Mouse will join your party. And yeah, she's also a secret character that you can get as a partner. Spoiler. You know there's spoilers in the video, it's 100%, but spoiler. There was also a trouble that took place in Creepy Steeple, which reminded me that I still needed to fight Atomic Boo still. For him to show up, you have to hit all these boos in the main room a couple times, and then he just kind of forms from that. I gotta say, the Trouble Center quests have been a lot of fun, but man am I glad these fast travel pipes are here. It makes the backtracking much easier to manage. One of them was about a Goomba getting rejected by Goombella, which was kind of sad to watch, I'm not gonna lie. Even the boyfriend Pianta Frankie has a trouble. And guess what? This idiot loses the wedding ring again. How did you lose it again? And look at this! You got the wedding ring 30 feet in the air! How did you even get it up there? Did you throw it? But then we've got this businessman that forgot the passcode to his suitcase. And he's asking me to find it? Okay, so what you're supposed to do is backtrack to 4 different areas and count chairs and rooms, but screw that, I've got the Player's Choice official strategy guide that's got the passcode in it. But the reason I'm mentioning this particular trouble is because it's notable. This rat wants to mix together his hot sauce with the hot dogs next to him, but he wasn't able to convince the hot dog guy to collaborate, which left him feeling a bit bummed out. I need you all watching to write that down on the test. That's going to be on the test next week. Write it down. Oh, and if you thought backtracking to every area with General White was just such a fun time, we get to do it again with Gold Bob's quest. Yay! Now, Luigi's quest was hilarious. This girl toad wanted to meet Luigi, so you gotta put on the Luigi costume and make her happy. Then when that's over, she's ecstatic about you, actual Luigi shows up, and she yells at the poor guy, calling him a fraud. The last one I gotta mention is the Bob-omb mission. This little bronze Bob-omb dude wants to apologize to his mom for not doing his homework, so you have to give his mom his note and some food, and it's just so endearing and sweet. And at this point, the Trouble Centers were all done except for one that required me to go 50 floors deep into the Pit of 100 Trials. So I thought it made more sense to wait until I got everything else unlocked first. Next on the to-do list was to find the missing shine sprites. Most of these weren't too hard to find, and there's not that many to begin with, so I got them all no problem. It really helps too that the map actually tells me when I've completed an area. So after that was the star pieces. There are a lot more of these things, and they're hidden better too. Just because of their smaller form factor, it took a bit longer to track them down. There was one I actually couldn't get yet in the Glitz pit, which was kind of funny. It's literally just one star piece hiding in Jolene's office, and while normally I could just go back to her office anytime since I was the champion, there's a brand new fight here that I still have to play, and I think because of that, I was also knocked all the way to the bottom of the rank, removing my access to her office. So I decided that I should just wait to get that star piece until I do the secret boss. But yeah, I basically just kept getting star pieces, and there's really not much to say about it, honestly. A lot of these pieces are hidden in spots where you have to ground pound the floor, and that can be really confusing. The most challenging star piece was probably the one on the moon. I had to first find this cog so the machine would turn on, and then it turns into a very precise crane game. But after that, I cleaned up the rest of the star pieces and was completely done with them. I went to Dazzle to exchange my star pieces, and oh, no, I forgot, there's still the one in Glitz Pit. Alright, well, now is a better time than ever to do the first secret fight. But before I could do that, I had no choice but to do all 20 fights again so I could get access to Jolene's office. And thankfully, I wasn't constantly stopped like in Chapter 3, but since I'm so overleveled, it was a snooze to replay this. So after like an hour, I broke into her office again and got that final star piece. So now, let's get started on the first secret boss, Prince Mush. See, I told you he'd be on the test. This is super cool because he was cut content in the original game, and now we can actually fight him in the remake. And oh my god, he goes Super Saiyan! Dude, Prince Mush is no joke. The best and almost the only way to hit him is by super guarding, because otherwise he'll dodge most of your attacks, like 95% of them. The super guard gives you a brief moment to actually hit him, and that's all you get. You also can't use most attacking items since he's vulnerable to them, and let's keep in mind that he has moves that deal like 60 to 70 damage per turn. His attacks are insanely hard to block with a super guard as well. I mean, look how fast he's going. No wonder Prince Mush was poisoned by Grubba. This toad is an unstoppable force of nature. So after losing to him, because holy sh*, I wasn't ready for this, I adjusted my badges a bit and got some much better items in stock. It took a couple more tries until I finally beat him, because damn, he was hard. It was really satisfying trying to figure out and learn the super guard timing. He's probably the hardest boss in the whole game. I also love how after all of that, you only get 30 coins. Dude, I deserve a mansion after that fight. So now that I've done those 2 tasks, I unlocked everything in the art and sound gallery. These are so fun to look at. A lot of this art shows unused sketches never seen before. Look at these ideas for Hooktail's face. This is so awesome to see. And those Yoshi hairdos, those are looking sick. I just gotta preach this. Can Nintendo please start doing this more often with the remakes and remasters? It's fascinating seeing concept art of characters and what they may have ended up looking like. Despite all that, however, I still had a ways to go, believe it or not. Next, I decided to tackle the recipes. I figured the best way to make these quickly is to count up individual items I needed, and buy them in bulk. So I got all the mushrooms I needed ahead of time, and did this process every time I was near a specific item I needed. One of those being a horsetail. Did you even know that those are in the game? Yeah, you gotta hit this random thing 10 times in a row, and there you go, a horsetail. It's the only place you can get them too. I sure as hell wouldn't have found that on my own. As fast as I was making recipes, I was also selling most of them. I don't really have any reason to keep the recipes, and I want to get as much bang for my buck as possible, so it seemed like the best route to take. One of the big things that I needed was the cake mix. The trouble with this is that you can only get the cake mix at Piano Parlor, and I didn't have any Piano coins yet. I haven't really used these machines yet, but I know you can get coins from them. However, I was more interested in the mini-games. These would allow me to get a ton of Piano coins to get the cake mix, and any other good badges I needed. There's 4 different minigames all based on curses Mario has, but I found the tube game to be the fastest. You just have to roll around on this course as fast as possible, and it was a lot of fun trying to improve my time and get a bunch of coins. I eventually got enough for the cake mixes, but then I realized I also needed jam and jelly, which they also sold here. And it's super expensive to normally buy at a shop, so I did more tube game grinding instead. At this point, I've made all the basic recipes and was just getting the more obscure food. The most annoying food to get was definitely the 4 mystical eggs. I had to play the game with Petunie, go into the pipe, and then turn around and do it again so I could spawn another egg. But besides that particular one, it wasn't that bad. It just took a while to travel and get all the different food items. Thank God for this spreadsheet that I found online that says what each recipe is. This would have taken forever to figure out without it. And recipe after recipe, I eventually got down to just one left. And this one I saved for last because it's brand new to the game. Guys, get your notes out. This was on the test. Remember that businessman with the hot sauce and the hot dog? Well, in the original game, combining those 2 foods together gave you a mistake. But in the remake, you actually get hottest dog. What a teeny tiny detail for the devs to pay attention to and add in. You can't help but love this excruciating attention to detail. They didn't have to do something like that, but they did it anyway. So with the recipes done, the only real collectible I had left was the badges. I'm lucky that I didn't have many to go, so I ran around and got any that I was missing. But it got to the point where the remaining badges had to be bought from Charlieton. Now, this guy, oh, he's a real piece of work, let me tell you. He likes to upcharge everything he sells, and this remake actually makes some badges more expensive. So I got to the point of needing like 4 or 5 more badges from him, but simply couldn't afford the rest because he drained my wallet. My only option now was to finally finish the Pit of 100 Trials, so I started to prepare for that and was a bit nervous about completing this challenge. It's a good thing I focused on getting badge points this whole time, because I'm gonna need them to survive. Let's take a quick look at my setup. I've got every close call on for dire situations, defense increases more easily with damage dodge, I have a bit of extra FP and HP, power plus is on, I have every lucky badge enabled to make it more likely for enemies to miss, and quick change and spike shield for good measure. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm still nervous. This is such a long task that could all end with one game over. Looking at the items I had, I think I maybe went a little bit overboard on preparing, but I really didn't want to have to redo the Pit 100 Trials, because that would be devastating. So let's get this thing started. The Pit of 100 Trials is a really cool idea. You do 100 floors of battles and get to the end without dying, because if you do, you start over from the beginning. The idea is terrifying, which is why I think people like it so much. My qualm with this is that it takes so long to get through. Even just like 50 floors would have been enough. 100 floors is so excessive. It literally took 3 hours to get through the entire thing, and the first 50 floors weren't a challenge at all. I guess I just wish it were shortened a bit or something, I don't know. But I can at least appreciate that the mover guy will randomly show up sometimes and let you skip a few floors as you're going along. Level 90 was when got real. All the enemies could deal massive damage, and I had to constantly use special moves just to survive. The final floor has the one and only Bone Tail. And you wanna know what? He wasn't that bad. I ended up coming up with a really good strategy where I just let my partners appeal almost every turn and Mario would deal damage. It ended up working out pretty well since I could use the specials to heal and chip away at Bone Tail with Mario. And I'm so glad to say that it worked, because after 3 hours, I managed to clear the Pit of 100 Trials. Finally, I could afford Charlieton's overpriced badges and get the rest of them. I was checking to see if I got everything, and was actually missing a few tattles. You might see that number 10 is missing, and it's a character that's called Goomboard. What? Wait, what's a Goomboard, and how did I miss that? Oh, I see. It's the stupid tutorial enemy. You gotta tattle that for some reason. Okay, sure. But even after that, I'm still not done. Oh, what's this? An interesting message we got here. Let's see. There's a mysterious creature in the Pit of 100 Trials that replaced Bone Tail. Oh, come on! You want me to climb down the pit again for one secret boss? I'm not gonna lie, I was kinda pissed, until I found that there was a mover at the very beginning that would take me to floor 50. Oh, thank you! Man, I was not mentally prepared for another 100 floors of this. But who was the last secret tantalizing boss? Well, it's a very goofy one. The Piranha Plant of Smash Bros, dare I say. So, there's one spot in the game where you hit this little mole dude called a Wacka. He gives you Wacka bumps, and you can take up to 8 before he stops giving them to you. On floor 100, you'll find Wacka here again, and he wants revenge. I don't blame the guy either. We smacked him around for virtually no reason. He deserves to fight back after all this time. Now, normally, this fight would be terrifying. The whack as he bobs towards us do insane damage. We could very easily lose this fight, but I found an exploit that made this the easiest fight in the game. Pull out Vivian and use Veil over and over and over again. Wacka's only attack are his Whack-a-Bumps, so just attack with Mario and use Veil with Vivian. You will literally never get hit and just win. So when he's done, you get a gold Whack-a-Bump as a reward, and that is almost it for 100%. There's one more thing to do. The game tells us it has one more shiny reward for completing everything, and what could it be? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, I hope it's good. Gold medal badge. Oh, okay, I see. It makes Mario gold. Fantastic. But now, let's move on to our sponsor, Squarespace. They're the best and most powerful place to create the slickest websites. New to Squarespace is the Fluid Engine, a next-generation design system that makes it even easier to make a website. There's also Squarespace extensions that connect your store to vetted third-party tools to extend functionality, and the analytics page makes it easy to see who's visiting your site and where people are coming from. Last year, I put together a website for my YouTube series Bandy's Universe, and I'm still keeping it up to date because of how easy it is to manage and organize the content. So with that, go to squarespace.com/Nathaniel to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. The link is in the description. And there you have it, the 100% Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door experience. This game is definitely worth checking out. It's one of Nintendo's greats and was even fun to 100% complete. So with that, I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching.